What's going on, guys? Patrick James here. I wanted to quickly introduce my buddy Rob Judge for today's video. So this is a speech that he recently gave at one of my seminars here in Arizona, and I wanted to give it to you guys today for free because it's fucking gold. And basically Rob is one of my original mentors in game from back in the day, way back when. He's a texting and Tinder expert, and he gave this speech about one sentence that he uses over social media or even in person to make any girl fall in love with him, and how you can apply it to your own life. So sit back, relax. It's a little bit longer of a video today, but it's worth the time investment. So sit back, relax, take notes if you really want to, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, cool. I just want to start off saying, just talk a little bit about Pat. You guys, so I heard someone say before that you guys are here because, like, you get to attend a seminar before Pat blows up, and that is so true because, I really don't speak that much anymore at seminars, and when Pat invited me here, I even though I have a crazy busy day today, I cleared my schedule or I made time to make sure to speak here because of the fact that this man right here, I respect the hell out of this man, because this guy, I see this guy going out in Scottsdale. This is a guy, who legitimately goes out and practices what he preaches, incredibly charismatic. In fact, I'll give you all forewarning, I am not the public speaker, or I'm not as polished as Pat is, so I'm setting the bar low for you to come in and just totally look awesome, like a superstar.
It was planned that way, right?
Yeah, totally, yeah. So yeah, and the one thing I just want to say about Pat that you guys should all take note of is, I see a lot of guys, I've been in this industry for such a long time that I've seen students and I've seen instructors, and the one thing that differentiates the guys why I see get good and continue to get good and continue to progress in their dating life versus even guys who are instructors that end up kind of becoming stagnant in their dating life is the sort of the thirst for knowledge and the ability to look at things objectively. And I'll give you an example. Like Pat, when I first moved here, I kept telling him, "Do you get on Tinder?" And he kind of resisted. But over time, I saw Pat change his views on that. And it's that objectivity where you could look at things, like the guys I know who are the best with women have no ego around it, right? They're not like, oh, I'm some ladies' man. They're just like, yeah, like this is something I do and it's cool. And they're always ready to re-look at their paradigm. That's something that Pat does really well, aside from the fact that, he's incredibly good with women, but and not just as a guy who's good with women, but also as just like an entrepreneur and an all-around cool guy. So I just wanted to point that out, that, you guys are definitely learning from someone who knows their shit, and, I'm sure you guys are already got a ton of value out of this. But, so the speech that I'm going to give today, start off by writing, I'm not going to write a lot on this whiteboard, but this is, all right, so my handwriting's a little messy there, but it says, if you can get a girl to think about you when you're not there, you can attract her. Who agrees with that statement? Everyone, right? Even a layperson would agree with the statement. But the true application of this statement is what separated me from being a guy who was terrible with women and had a really unfulfilling, unhappy dating life, to someone now who I feel very happy in my dating life. I'm dating an amazing girl. I have an amazing girlfriend. I've had some really, really great experiences with women. And all of that has been the understanding and application of this quote. Because even though we all, and even when I was at my worst, I would have logically agreed with this, but the application of it, that's what separates, that's the difference between a guy who's playing like checkers and a guy who's playing chess. And by the end of this, short speech I'm going to give you here, I want you all to see this in such a three-dimensional way that it's going to change every interaction you have with women, not just with girls you're meeting for the first time. This applies to your girlfriend, to your wife, to a girl that you're texting with, to a mail order bride, whatever situation you're in with a woman, and there's a romantic sexual context, this applies, okay? And to introduce this concept, let's talk about erectile dysfunction. You guys all know what erectile dysfunction is? Show of hands. Has anyone ever had erectile dysfunction? Yeah. There you go. One honest guy. Yes. I want to see how quickly those hands came down. But so I'm going to tell a damaging admission. Okay. So there have been times, maybe I was drinking a little bit, maybe I was just a little nervous, and I've had erectile dysfunction, right? Where I like take a girl home, or I'm dating a girl, and we're gonna sleep together for the first time, and just doesn't, just not happening. And what is crazy is that the girls that happened with actually ended up wanting me more. And why do you think that is?
Challenge.
Okay, maybe a challenge. But a lot of it was a challenge, but basically it's in the reaction I had to that, right? It's how I reacted to the situation. Now, what do you guys think would be a good reaction if, say, you have a friend and he gets erectile dysfunction, or, God forbid any of you guys end up in the same situation as me. What would you guys do in that situation?
Play it off, laugh about it.
Laugh it off, okay.
Call a taxi, get the hell out of there.
Call a taxi, get the hell out of there, okay.
Should do, and probably freak out though.
Freak out, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Like, even let's just say you're playing the Sims game, right? Like the Sims. I always love this analogy. Well, let's just say you're a Sims character, so there's no emotional involvement. You're just telling this guy what to do. Your Sims character, it's womp womp, and then what are you telling that guy to do? I'll tell you.
In my head, I'd just be trying to come up with any damn thing I could to get myself turned on to the point where it's coming up.
Yeah, but let's just say the damage is done. It's over. And the reason I bring this up is, again, this is just kind of an outrageous example, but the reason I bring this up is because what I realize is the best reaction to erectile dysfunction is nothing, no reaction. And the reason for that is what the application of this quote, and this is what, and again, I'm not by any means advising anyone to get erectile dysfunction to get a girlfriend or to attract women. This is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, the reason that worked, and the reason that the girls, and it was funny, the hotter the girl was, the better, and again, I'm not saying I do this as a strategy, and it doesn't happen that often, but if it happened, or something happened where the girl was really hot, the hotter she was, the better it worked. And the reason is because when I had no reaction to that, right? And again, I used to do I would think, okay, let's laugh it off, and again, this isn't necessarily related to erectile dysfunction. This can be in a lot of different situations. But the reason that works so well is because when I don't have any reaction to it, the wheels in her head start spinning, right? She's wondering, oh, wait, am I not hot enough? Is it his problem? What's going on? So the thing about, and again, this is why I bring this up, is because so many guys understand this quote, but they think it works, or the layperson application of this is only in the positive. Oh, if you have a great date with a girl and she goes home and she thinks about you. Oh, if you post this really cool picture on social media and she likes it. Yeah, of course, that's an application of that quote, but this quote is three-dimensional. And this is what I said before. When I first got into this whole dating advice thing and trying to really look at my dating life and say, okay, how can I get better at this? My whole thing was I would just go out and just try to approach women and talk to women, and I got a lot of embarrassing rejections, and in those embarrassing rejections I learned a lot and ended up starting my company. And even when I was the earliest being an instructor, everything I was teaching was based on this idea of the traditional dating advice, right? Like being unreactive, being funny, trying to tell good stories, and those are absolutely essentials to getting good with women too. But when I started realizing this is when, like I said before, I stopped playing checkers and I started playing chess. Because this lets you take everything you're doing, even stuff that can be as unflattering and embarrassing as erectile dysfunction, and using it to your advantage. And this is what the average guy doesn't think about. Because one thing about me is, like I said before, I'm a terrible public speaker. I fuck up shit all the time. I make mistakes with women. Sometimes, it's so funny. Sometimes I do things with women that I'm like, if I was a student and I was telling me this, I would berate myself for what I'm doing. But it doesn't matter. And the reason is because, not because those mistakes it's a good idea to make mistakes, but because I understand this to such a level that when I make a mistake, I know how to spin it in a way that will either confuse her, make her curious, and again, I'm not advising this as a strategy, but every once in a while, it doesn't hurt to piss a girl off, or to maybe get into an argument with a girl, or something to that effect. Because again, this quote, when people, if I said this quote to 100 people on the street, 99 of the people would agree with it or say, oh yeah, well of course that's true. But 99 people would also just assume it meant the positive stuff. And I gave the example of erectile dysfunction and not saying anything because that's just a really easy one to remember. But not saying anything, that's not like the default way to do this all the time. I'm going to give you another example. And this is a social media example. What do you think is going to be more powerful what kind of picture do you think is going to attract more women? A picture of you and like, you know, a hot girl, you know, and you're out and it's obviously you're on a date, or a picture of you checking in at like a swanky bar on maybe like a Friday or Saturday night, and it's a picture of two like you know maybe it's like a beer and like a fruity, you know, martini, and you just post like cheers. What do you think is gonna be better? Which pictures do you think is gonna help you more?
Social proof.
The what?
Social proof.
Social proof. But here's the thing: is that like, and that's what I'm saying. That answer is technically correct. And again, I don't have any objective proof to you know back this up, other than my own experiences. But that would be that's a good answer. Yes, social proof. You're with a hot girl, that kind of thing. But here's the thing: when she sees the picture of the drinks, right? You're getting the social proof. Because how many guys you know are going to be drinking like a fruity like martini or something?
So it's implied. You're saying that the obviously you're not drinking the fruity martini. The fact that it's there and what's not being said is making her think, oh, why is there two drinks there?
Who is he there? Yeah. Because that's the whole thing. But she has everything to nail you down.
Or I would say in a perspective, she's probably looking at it. She can picture herself there with you, always got the drinks ready for me, versus if there's the woman, okay, it's like going up to a woman with a group of friends around.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. And you notice how the drink picture sparked all this conversation, right? The one with the hot girl, how much conversation? And this is something that I even realize sometimes when I meet, like, you know, making friends. Like I said, I moved to Scottsdale. I even met, you know, just making, you know, I met Pat, and I met some other people on social circle. And it's funny because sometimes like I'd meet these guys who I thought, you know, and again, this is not some judgment on like, you know, because you have a, you know, mediocre girlfriend or whatever that you're not a cool guy. But I'd meet these guys, and then they would talk about their girlfriend, and in my head I would picture this like really hot chick, and then when you meet their girlfriend, it's kind of like a little underwhelming, you know? You ever see that with where there's like a celebrity and like he's like some like, you know, dude, and you're like, oh, this guy probably kills it with women, and then like some TMZ leaks some picture of like, so, and you're like, oh, I don't know about that one, you know? Like, oh, man, that guy must really be slumming. But that's the thing, and you have to understand for women, is that there was a point where I always felt like I needed to put up the social proof, and I needed to show off. I was like, you know, hanging out with girls, and I was this cool guy. But then I started realizing, and this is kind of like I said, this is how this quote started becoming like three-dimensionalized to myself, that girls kind of started already thinking I was like, I didn't have to show them the girls, and in fact, when I didn't show them the girls, it worked better because sometimes, like, if I would post a picture of me and a girl out at a bar, so I remember one time I went on social media, I posted a picture of me and my sister, and some girl I was like kind of, you know, dating. She was like, that girl's not even hot, and I was like, yes, my sister, you know. But that's the thing, is that a lot of the times, and my sister is very good looking, you know. Not my sister ever watches this video. It's not no knock on her. It's jealous girl, whatever. You know, it's just funny how that works because these girls had this impression of me already that I was already doing this. I was already out with women. So it's almost like by showing the picture, it's almost like you know the idea of like the what the hell is it called? There's a term for it, in like cat and mouse string theory, where like if there's a cat and you kind of like dangle the string in front of the cat will like, you know, it'll play and it'll try to catch a string. But as soon as you drop the string in front of the cat will just look at it and walk away because the chase isn't there. And again, I'm going to give more examples of, you know, different ways. And again, the way that I apply this is not the way that you guys should apply this. You guys should apply this in your own way. You guys are going to have, you know, I get erectile dysfunction. You guys have other, you know, you guys make other mistakes. You all make mistakes, right? But how we use those mistakes to our advantage, that's what defines you. And that's where that's why I really enjoy teaching this to this day, because of the fact that a lot of it's about creativity and that kind of thing. And one of the things that I think is really funny is that when people look at this, people are always like, you're so manipulative. You just teach guys how to manipulate women. But this isn't manipulative at all. What this essentially is you're dressing up your personality, right? It's like, people are like, oh, just be yourself. Well, I fucking woke up today in boxer shorts and and my hair was a mess. And it's like walking out of my house without being myself. Like I respect you guys enough. And again, I pick my girlfriend later from the airport and I have stuff to do today. So I have enough respect for myself and the people that I'm interacting with that I took a shower. I groomed myself. I put on decent clothing. And I walked out of the house like this. And that's what ultimately this is doing, is that you want to figure out ways to take your personality and different aspects of it. And this is, there's no one set technique to do this because this is unique to all of you. But if you can take this and figure out ways that you can get a girl curious, you can get a girl intrigued, you can get a girl confused sometimes. Again, so it's funny. The reason I hesitate to say confusion is guys hear that and like, well, I can do that. And then they start doing this like wild shit and then they just look like a crazy person. So you don't want to come off like a crazy person because but think about it. When was the last time you went to Google saying, what did this mean when this girl, how many guys have done that? Like where a girl will send you a text and you'll call your buddy and be like, what do you think she meant by this? Yeah, right? Trust me, I'm a dating coach. Like guys pay me hundreds of dollars to get on the phone with me to ask me that question. So you're not doing that with girls that that you're not attracted to, right? The only girls that you're investing that kind of time into are the girls that you want, that you want to date. You want to hook up with her. You want her to be your girlfriend. Whatever the context is, there's attraction there. Boom, attraction. But the thing is that a lot of times we don't even realize because so much of this process is unconscious, right? So much of it is that we're walking around in our day-to-day lives and we don't even realize, it just kind of sneaks up on us. Has it ever happened to you? All right, let me put it this way. Have you guys ever had a girl in your life where she's cute and you're kind of seeing her, but you're not she's all right, but you're not super infatuated with her. And then all of a sudden one day you just realize something just takes over and you're like, shit, I do like her, right? How many guys, right? I can think, a girl I dated here for 2 years. When I first met her, I was like, I was getting to know her, but I was kind of like, eh. And then all of a sudden, one day, I just realized, I was like, wow, this girl's really infatuated with me. I'm really infatuated with this girl. And it happens because of this. And the reason it happens because of this is because she did certain things that got me to think about her when she wasn't there. And this is another key point I want to point out here about this one quote. When you're not there, okay? This is something that is really difficult for a lot of guys to understand. And you guys ever studied art, or even not even studied art, but you've heard the term negative space in art. Negative space is like if you have a picture, it would be like the white part, the negative space. But the negative space is what defines the picture. And so many guys are too afraid, and I think so much of it is about guys not trusting themselves, not having the confidence. So they constantly want to be in a girl's face, right? They constantly, if I don't text her today, me and Bobby always laugh because guys will send us emails. Well, I can't go 3 days on texting her. What's gonna happen? As if the world's gonna end if this guy doesn't send her a good morning text on Tuesday. It's absurd. But and I understand where they're coming from too because I was that guy. Like I said, every mistake that I didn't get here doing it perfectly, trust me. So, but this is something that so much, and this works both ways too, because I notice this with girls too. Maybe it's just me because I'm kind of an introvert, but how many of you guys that if you had a girlfriend and you spend 2 weeks with her and you're kind of like, oh man, I just kind of want a little time of my own, but then it's you don't see your girlfriend for 2 weeks, and then you see her. How bad do you want to see her, right? Yeah, right? It's because negative space. It happens when you're not there. And the reason is because the more the hamster on the wheel is turning in our heads or in her head or in anyone's head, because this is not even just applies to men. This applies just to, applies to men. This doesn't just apply to women. This applies to just humans in general. This is how attraction happens. Is that, again, I don't want to get into the evolutionary psychology of it just because, I'm not, I don't have any real background aside from a really nerdy science degree in college, but there is science to this, right? we don't invest mental energy into things that don't have significance to us, that don't have importance. So the more that she's thinking about you when you're not there, the more that attraction, that sort of fans those flames. And this is why, and again, I want to go back to what we said before about, the idea of like the dating 1.0 to this being like the dating 2.0, or like playing checkers versus playing chess, is like, when I was playing checkers, when I was doing dating 1.0, my life was better, trust me, no doubt about it. I was going out, I was getting phone numbers, I was getting more dates, I was meeting a lot of women, I was really figuring out the types of women, things I really liked about women, or the qualities I was looking for, and a girl that I would want to make my girlfriend, and that kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. But I'm gonna ask you guys, because I know I was guilty of this. How many of you guys, like, when you're going out, you get a girl's number and you're like, all right, like, this might work, this might not work, right? Like, how many times have, like, there been a girl where, like, you meet and you really like her, and then it just kind of fizzles? It's almost like because, like, oh, I liked her too much or whatever, right? So that used to happen to me until I really understood this. And again, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying it just to make a point, is that once I really started understanding this, I can only think of really one girl where like, I really wanted to date her, and it just didn't work out. Now it's like to the point that if I can get a girl's phone number, if I can get a girl to like friend me on Facebook, if I'm like somehow in this girl's like, even somewhere in her orbit of like social circle, or I see her at work, I can get that girl. And it's not because I'm some super stud guy, it's simply because I understand this quote better than probably like 99%, or maybe like 99.99% of the population. Because when people see this quote, everyone agrees with it, but no one sees the three dimensions of it. I know that like there are things I can do on social media, and again, none of this is manipulative, none of this is lying, none of this is trying to portray myself as something other than who I am, but I am adding that mystique to it. I am adding some intrigue. I'm not doing the predictable behavior, because predictability allows us to stereotype things, compartmentalize it, because that's what our brains want to do, right? They want to stereotype things. They want to compartmentalize. Oh, this guy's my stoner friend. This guy's my the dude I play music with. This is the guy that I talk to about girls. We like to compartmentalize people, and that's what girls do to us. When you meet a woman for the first time, or you're getting to know a woman, she's trying to put you in like a bin. Is this friend zone guy? Is this ignore guy? Is this creepy guy? Is this, guy I'll go on a couple dates with and see where it goes? Is this guy I'm going to call for late night sex? There's all these different bins that are available, and your job is, well, you want to get into those attractive bins, but early on, you want to make yourself you don't want her to be able to just stereotype you as one type of guy, because once she stereotypes you, she stops thinking about you. So essentially, that's the crux of everything I wanted to talk about today, because like I said, it's a very, very simple concept. But this, I promise you, because I've been in this a long time, and like I said, I aspire to be a man like the quality I mentioned about Pat, about always evolving and trying to challenge myself and try to grow as a man, and just try to be a better, be more attractive, and give the girls that I care about, or the women that I date, an experience that's ideally enjoyable for them. I mean, that's ultimately what we're all into dating advice for, right? Is to come off more attractive to women, that kind of thing. But this is what allows me, because what's so great about this is that not only does this, like I said, this works when I want to get a girl to text me back. This works when I want to get, I meet a girl on Tinder and I want to get out for a date. But this works on my, I've been dating the girl that I'm picking up from the airport today. I've been dating her on and off for like 2 years. And our relationship is still amazing. We still have a lot of passion in our relationship because of the fact that I understand this. And I don't do stuff, like I'm not doing stuff that is like, weird or manipulative, but I do know that every once in a while, it's good to get her to experience some different emotions, because that's what keeps her invested. That's what keeps the hamster, the hamster on the wheel. And she does this back to me too. Just by the type of person she is, I think about her when she's not there. But again, and that's also why I underline this. It's just so funny too, how much, again, I'm picking her up from the airport today. So, I mean, I always care about my girlfriend, but I know like when we go for like periods where I don't see her, when I see her again, it's always that much stronger. So that's why like the full extent of this quote, a lot of people can read the words, you can understand it logically, but what I was trying to, impart on you guys today, and hopefully you guys took something from that, is the emotional aspect of it.
So would you say connecting on Facebook as friends is a good way to make that happen, or is that not a good way?
Sometimes. Because, you know, and again, this is what I said before, and I don't mean to qualify it as like, you know, I can't answer, you know, or whatever, but sometimes it really is a case-by-case basis. Sometimes early on, I'll give you just my own example, or my own case study. If I meet a girl, there's no way I'm sending her a friend request. Like I don't friend request girls ever that I just met. If she friend requests me, I'll ask my, but again, I run it through the prism of this quote. I'm like, is this going to help me? Is this, because like, if, you know, it was like, you know, you meet girls in different situations and you could tell, you know, and the more girls you meet, the more your radar kind of triggers, like, okay, this girl kind of sees me this way. Like that's again, it's a whole talk for a different time, but you know, a girl's perception of you is also very important, and understanding, because see, a lot of guys just think, see, it's funny, I always say guys are always on two ends of the extreme, right? They're either like, they think that like they're killing it and they're like this like ladies man, and they're not, or they think they're like so hopeless and out of, and like, you know, and they totally count themselves out, and they're not there either. You know, usually you're somewhere on that spectrum, you know, in between those two extremes, and it really helps to understand, you know, where you're at in terms of her interest level, but it also really helps to understand too, what is it that you think that is attractive to her about you? Like, what is it? Why is she interested in you? Because, like I said, like, you know, we all have different aspects or different facets of our personality, and sometimes girls key in on a certain facet. Like I know myself, like sometimes girls like the fact that I'm creative, right? Sometimes girls like the fact that I'm something else. You know, like, you know, there's all these different facets to my personality, and that's also why it just makes sense to just three-dimensionalize your personality and try to become an interesting person, because there's different things that, you know, it's different faces that different girls can see, so you can just expand the amount of girls you can get, or the amount of girls that are going to find you attractive. But the thing is that so I would recommend never friend requesting a girl that you just met. Like that like, again, it's not like a hard and fast rule, but for me, that's just something I try not to do, because of the fact that, you know, I'll give you another example that kind of explains this quote. Think about it like a movie trailer. I use this analogy a lot, but I mean, like, when you go to the movies, how good are the movie trailers? Like, they're the best, right? Like, how, like, you can take the shittiest movie and take it to like some whatever marketing agency they use, and they'll chop it up and they will make it look like I would just like, I wish there was a movie theater that just played movie like trailers all day. I would go and just watch them because they're amazing. But what do? They make you want more. Oh, I gotta see that movie. This is you know, this looks so interesting. And that's what you want to be, especially to a girl you just met. You want to be the movie trailer, and that's why, you know, again, and I'll give some of I gave a couple examples of what to do. I gave a lot of examples of what not to do. You don't want to be giving girls like your resume. You know, I see guys, they'll send me their Tinder profiles, and it's like they've written out this fucking resume, and I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? You know, and like I said, you don't want to constantly be up in a girl's face. You know, you want there to be that negative space. Sometimes, but the other thing too is that you also want to be unpredictable. So sometimes, yeah, you can come at a girl, you know, and send her a couple texts, or, you know, and you can come on a little, you know, kind of strong, but you want to balance that out. You know, you don't want to be like if you're just always in the girl's face, you're not giving her that emotional space to think about you when you're not there. If that answers, kind of a long-winded way to answer a Facebook question, but yeah.
How do you apply that to Tinder? I think I bought one of your products a while back on Tinder. I don't remember which one it was. But
cool. I only got one. Yeah.
How do you, everything you just said, what is the ideal way to portray that in a Tinder profile? You know, you have like your main picture there, and you have a picture with the social proof and different things like that, but you know, I still get mixed results using Tinder.
Sure, okay.
And I get a lot of them to message me, but then after that, a lot of them don't actually pan out into dates. And so. Okay,
so you're actually pretty doing pretty well, because like a lot of guys, you know, I can answer this question from a lot of different angles, right? I can answer it from like what you can do in your pictures. I can answer it from, you know, what you can maybe put in your profile. I mean, it's not a whole lot you can do in your profile because it's so short. Right. But if you're actually matching with girls and you're having conversations with them. The first thing I'm going to ask is, how long are you waiting before you like try to get them out on a date?
Like pretty quick.
Pretty quick, okay.
I convert them into like, I try to get their number, and then, you know, I have them usually text me first, have them shoot me a text, and then and then the next conversion point would be to get them out onto a date.
Okay.
So it's pretty quick. I mean, I don't like to drag it out for days and days and days. Cause I might not even like her. Like I want to get her out as soon as possible. So
Okay.
5 to 10 texts.
Okay. See, if I was talking to you when I was in 2009, 2010, probably up to 2012, I would have been like, yeah, awesome.
Right.
Me now, again, and I think it's a lot of me like learning more and going deeper and deeper into this specific quote. I would say one of the things that you might be doing wrong is that you're not like fanning enough curiosity. There's not enough of that movie trailer. You're not giving her enough before you're pulling you're pulling the trigger and saying, hey, let's speed up. And again, sometimes that does work, and that's why.
Chat buddy to her.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, absolutely not. But the thing is that what I like to do a lot of the times is I like to kind of throw out a couple feelers because like I said, I have a pretty good understanding of what I could what girls usually find attractive conversation or aspects about my personality. So I'll throw out different things and see what she latches onto, and I'll take it to a high point. And then that's especially and I'll be a little bit more specific. A high point being a girl asking you questions, being like, "Oh, you do that," and then she's peppering you with questions, and maybe you answer one or two of those questions, but then and in each answer you want to just keep increasing that intensity to the point that when she asks you a question, you're like, "Oh yeah, like." I actually have a funny answer. I have a funny story about that, but it's better told over a glass of wine, or it's better told over a beer. And then that's where you're trying, because again, that's where you're saying, okay, let's continue this over
You're
drinks.
jumping through her hoops. I think a lot of guys will get in there and just answer all their questions, and you don't want to do that, but you want to be a little playful about it and.
Exactly. Like look at everything. Like I said. I look at everything through this lens now, right? So when she's throwing me out questions, I might answer them, but I'm answering them in a way that's going to, get her to think about me more. Like, she asked me a question, and I want to spawn 10 more questions in her head. Like I said, I want to be the guy sending the girl to her friends, but what did he mean when he did this? What do you think about this guy? I want to be that guy because I know if she's doing that to her friends. And this is how. And again, I'm not some like super stud dude. Like I said, I make mistakes all the time. I like walk up to girls and they just like whatever. But the reason I'm enjoying success that I'm comfortable with is because of the fact that even if a girl is kind of like lukewarm on me, I know that I can increase that emotional intensity by simply doing this, by simply keying in on different aspects of our communication, recognizing, okay, this is what she likes about me. These are the things, like the wheels might be spinning like kind of slow at first, but I get those wheels spinning really fast by just doing little things that are just going to keep leading her down the rabbit hole or showing her a little bit more of the Rob movie trailer,
So there's not necessarily a set number of texts.
I
have like an outcome in my head. All right, if I don't have her, converted into a date by text number 6, then my likelihood.
Yeah.
I get in my head and do that.
Don't even. I was gonna say before. Don't even think about it in your head as converting or conversions. Just look at it like, oh, I'm interacting with women and I'm gonna hang out with this cool girl. It's like the less analytical you can be about it, because like I said, this is not analytical, right? This is very what's the term, like left brain, or this is more of like, I hate to use the term art, but I guess not so much. I wouldn't say it rises to the level of like art, but there's subtlety and subtext in this, and that's the thing, is that this requires you to be creative. This is not like a paint by number. This is what you do to attract this girl, and then you go into this phase, and then you do this, and you do this. This is more like free flowing, because I've gotten girls out, but again, using this principle, I've gotten girls out 2 texts or two Tinder messages, and girls that were like gorgeous, and I've gotten them out, with like 2-3 messages. But then there have been other girls where we'll talk for a while, I'm thinking specifically of my girlfriend. Like we talked, and I was kind of like her text buddy. But again, I wasn't her text buddy in the sense that I was like, oh, just when you're texting me, like whenever you want to talk, I'm here for you. I wasn't that guy. I wasn't the pen pal guy. The guy I was like, oh yeah, oh, you want to talk? All right, oh, you want to talk more? all right, and then like I said, I was leaving her wanting more. So even though I think I don't know if you're using, because I use that term all the time, me and Bobby had a term for it, like text grab ass, right? Where it's like, you're like, oh, thank you, and you're playing this little grab ass game. This is not text grab ass,
I think that was a video you did. You did a product for Greg Greenway. You and Bobby were doing something with him, and I think you were talking about that exact principle.
Yeah, but the difference between like, it's not like and again, me back in the day, and this is why I guess I have to correct some of my old, like I said, like I pointed out about Pat. We all have to correct our paradigm, right? I guess my old paradigm was like, oh man, if a guy immediately showed me like 5 pages of like a text interaction, I'd be like, well, this is what you're doing wrong. You said too many texts, your text buddy, pen pals, stop, whatever. These days, I would actually read the text, and probably I'm still right back in the day, because like most of the time guys are just playing text grab ass and they're just going back and forth, and you're like a pen pal. But there is situations where you can text with her a lot, and it can work out to your advantage. So that's why you just want to look at each situation differently. But the thing is that you don't want to just be, like I said, text grab ass now, the way I would define it is like when you're just there was some guy had a term for it, like it was really bad. And it's so bad you'll all remember it. It was like her emotional cookie dough boy or something. It's like like when a girl like kind of like when girls like binge on ice cream or whatever. It's like, oh, I need some validation. Let me text this loser, and then the girl like, oh, like 3 seconds, These are the dudes that are like walking into thirst traps on Instagram, to use the urban term, where they're like liking all the girls' pictures, like, you're beautiful, oh, amazing,
Terrible.
Yeah, it's like I look at this, and like these guys like legitimately in their head think this is a good strategy. Like, yeah.
No, let me slide into her DM that way.
Yeah, slide into DM, yeah.
Every text should have like a purpose. It's either to get her out, get her to think about sex with you, or maintain that relationship. I think that's what Greg Greenway said. You like if your text or message, whatever, does not do one of those 3 things, don't fucking send it.
I'm gonna simplify this even more for you. There's text to get the girl out, and there's text to get a girl to think more about you when you're not there. Those are the only 2 texts now. That's it. It's just very, very simple. Because that's the thing. It's like I said, and it's why it's hard to like give like step-by-step dating advice, because everyone knows every situation is different. Every girl's different. Every guy's different. So there's different applications of everything, which makes it hard because guys want dating advice. They want specific answers. And I understand that because I was there. But at the same time, I think the happy medium is this. So you're looking at it, and when you're texting a girl, ask yourself, okay, like what does this accomplish? And you don't have to do this like every single text. You don't have to overanalyze it. But when you see that opportunity, and the more you do this, and the more this is in the back of your head, the more you'll recognize the opportunities to do this. If you could see an opportunity to get her to think about you more.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I like that simplification.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, the Rob Judge 2 text rule. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for giving me the chance to talk. Anyone have any other questions or anything?
Okay.